Light up the day with fun. We'll find a way as one. Across the world, our lives unfold. We're here together. Every moment now, a song to sing out loud. Every road we climb, we are one.
Alright, I'm going to give you guys a quick recap from my presentation from the last virtual event, but before I do that, I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story about a famous swimmer. Her name was Florence Chadwick. Now some of you are like, who's Florence Chadwick? How is she famous? I've never heard of her. That's because she's from the 1950s. And on July 4th, 1952, she set this huge goal. She wanted to become the first female swimmer to swim from California to the Catalina Islands. Some of you are like, well, I've been there before. And others like, I've never even heard of it. It's 26 miles to give you perspective. And think 26 miles when you're in the ocean and you get deeper in the ocean and it can be freezing and all the different aspects you got to go through. So she says, I'm going to become the first female ever. So she gets in the water. And as she gets in the water, it's one of those days where it's extremely foggy. So she can't see more than a couple feet in front of her. So she's swimming. She's got her coach in the boat. She's got her mom in the boat. Her coach has got a rifle just in case they see sharks. That alone, just thinking about that, I'm done. I'm out thinking about sharks. So she gets in, and as she's swimming, they actually do see sharks. They shoot at the sharks, right? She keeps going. 15 hours and 55 minutes later, she says, I'm done. She taps out. So she gets in the boat, and they find out that she was only a half a mile away from shore. And the reporter says to her, Florence, what happened? And she says, look, I'm not excusing myself, but if I could have only seen land, I know I would have made it. 2 months later, she gets back in the water. Got her mom and her coach there again. And this time is different. This time she's committed. This time she's determined. Not only does she become the first female ever to swim across, right, from California to the Catalina Islands, she also crushed the men's record by 2 hours. And the reporter comes and asks her, what was different this time, Florence? And I'm sure she was so excited to tell the reporter what was different. She said, this time I kept envisioning that land was right there in front of me. Now I tell you that even though I'm focused on social media and that's my topic, is because good leaders have vision, great leaders give vision. In everything that we do, every decision that we make, it's so relevant and so key that we have that clear vision and that picture, because those are all the decisions that we make. If our vision isn't big enough, we're not going to make the decision to be able to go forward with it. We're going to say, you know what? It's not big enough. I'm not going to do that. That goes with your business. That goes with your Young Living business. That goes with social media and integrating some of these principles. So I'm going to do a quick recap for all of you. Quick recap. You already know this. I'll call it blah, 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 right? I'm not going to go through the long version. This is the highlighted version. I was the #1 recruiter out of 1 million distributors. I just tell you that because I know what I'm talking about. But on top of it, my 5th month in the business, I made less than $400 for the month. So I've had the highest of highs, lowest of lows. And some of you are like, well, $400 is great. Yeah, but I was working 80 hours a week. I could have made minimum wage and I would have been filthy rich compared to making $400 for the month working 80 hours a week. So I've had the highest of highs, I've had the lowest of lows, and I was the guy that was anti-social media when I went through all of this because I felt like everybody was doing it the wrong way. And so for years, 5+ years, I didn't make one post at all on social media. But then the shift happened. The shift happened where I felt like, you know what? This is the right way to do this. I don't have to do this, right? Like everybody else. I can do it a little bit differently. And when I say everyone else, of course there were people that were doing it right. I was just looking at it as the people that were doing it wrong. So the shift happened where I can do this and just provide more value and increase the timeless principles. I'm not taking away from the old school timeless principles. Those are always going to be there. And so we're going to do a quick recap on what those 8 Facebook tips were, and then we're going to transition into the next step, which is a little bit more advanced. So my 8 Facebook tips were, number 1, use Facebook Messenger. Why? Because the money's in Messenger. That's where the real conversations happen. That's where you can transition from people liking and commenting on your post, or you liking and commenting on their post, to now we can have a more intimate connection. Now, intimate, don't get me wrong, I don't mean connecting that way. I just mean having real conversations with people, right? Being a real human being. Because it's network marketing. And sometimes we forget about the networking, right? And we just go straight forward. So I always have non-business related conversations in Messenger. Always, every single month, just being a good human being. Increasing my likability, increasing my credibility, increasing my visibility. But I also am utilizing Messenger because it's a great place to transition those conversations into asking people to look at your business or products. Never leave a link is a second tip in Facebook or Instagram. What you're going to want to do is, if you leave a link, you want to drop it in the comments below. Why? Because the algorithm, we'll call it the algorithm schmalgorithm, right? Because sometimes it gets so complex, we get overwhelmed. With the algorithm, anytime there's a link, you're taking people off Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg wants to keep you on Facebook. He doesn't want to take you off Facebook. So they're going to say, ding, 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 ding. Let's not promote this post that much. So you're going to get way less visibility, which is what we want. We want visibility on our posts to be able to have influence. Don't be a Facebook stalker, right? And that goes along with tip number 4. So we're going to combine tip number 3 and 4 because this is a recap. Comment on other people's posts. Too many times people are on the scroll patrol, right? They scroll patrol, and it becomes the scroll hole, the scroll black hole, where you're just on there forever. Why? It doesn't take that long to like and comment and interact with people and truly network. So interact with people, comment on people's posts, don't be the Facebook stalker. Tip number 5 is unclutter your feed. So with uncluttering your feed is, I know it can become the scroll patrol, where it's scrolling, and I call it the scroll hole, where you end up scrolling, and what happens is you don't have great content, and you're like, this content, I don't like this content, annoys me. So you can choose 30 people that are see first. What does that mean? You're going to see them very first on your feed. That's great, because these are people that maybe they're new prospects, maybe they're potential customers, maybe there's some brand new people that just joined your business that you want to be able to help out a little bit more. Maybe they're influencers. Then you have those people that you just don't really want to follow their content. So you can block, you can unfriend, but sometimes you want to stay friends with them, but they're just a little bit too negative right now. Maybe they're a family member, so you unfollow. So I'm constantly doing this every single day. I'm finding new people that I unfollow. I'm changing who my see first is. Why? Because that helps you to be very deliberate on social media. The next thing, tip number 6, is have a well done profile photo and cover photo. So you can see right here as you look, I've got a photo of myself. I would say for profile photo, have a photo of yourself that's a closer up one. And then for my cover photo, that's my family. I'm always changing that. It could be me speaking, it could be with my wife traveling somewhere, it could be with my kids. So I'm always changing that specific photo there, the cover photo. Now, both these photos should be well done. Now, when I say well done, it doesn't mean you got to go pay all this money and you have this crazy, well done, professional photo. No. With cameras these days, with your phones, they're so good. The quality is so high. You can utilize your phones and have well done photos. The next one is I call it the law of reciprocation. You got to make sure you reply to everyone's comments. Why? Because number 1 is just being a good human being. If someone's taking the time to comment on your post, make sure you reply. The second part to that is the way the algorithm works. You know, I always simplify the Facebook algorithm because I don't want you to spend time on this. I don't want to be complicated. I'm going to give you the simple things that you need to do. But when you reply to everyone's comments, that creates more comments. That creates more interaction. And what Facebook's going to say, and Instagram, their algorithms are very similar, they're going to say, this is a great post. People are liking this post. People are engaging with this post. Let's show it to more people. Whereas if you have less engagement, you're going to get even less visibility. More engagement increases more visibility. Facebook's just going to look at that. Instagram's just going to look at that. If you have one of those posts that has 200 plus comments or it's an insane amount, and you're like, Rob, I just don't have time. That's called positive stress. That's up to you. You don't have to. I've had some of those posts and it's like, I'd be here all day. I can't do this. That's okay. That means you've cracked the code. You've cracked the algorithm. You're good. The last one we talked a ton about in the last presentation. We talked about being consistent in posting every single day. Now I get it. Some of you overwhelmed. It's like teaching someone to go run a marathon and they're like, I'm not even running a mile every single day. Well, that would be too hard. So if that's the case and you're not posting at all, then start out with once a week. And then you can move to twice a week and 3 times a week and 4 times a week and 5 times a week. And what you can do is what I do. I come here to my phone, and on my phone I pull up my notes. I'm going to pull them up right now. You're not going to be able to see it. That's okay. As I pull up my notes, I've got Facebook network marketing. So any post, it's okay you can't see this, but I'm going to give you perspective here. I'm still scrolling of future posts. Scrolling. What this is to say is anytime a thought comes to my mind of something that would be positive, something that I could be vulnerable and just share more about me, something that's insightful, something that's authentic, something that's funny, right, or humorous, that's my own humor. I made a post already today, but I'm so worried about running out of content. I started putting it all in there, so I already have 100 posts prepared. Now, of course, I've done this now for 6+ years of stashing notes in my phone, so it's not going to happen overnight, but this is going to help you to never run out of content. What's your main objective on social media? It's really simple. It's to build your likability, not in a fake way that you're trying to be a different person, in a very simple way, right? Your vibe's going to attract your tribe. People that like your vibe are going to follow, they're going to like, they're going to comment, they're going to share it. People that don't, that's okay. If you try to be everything to everyone, you're going to be nothing to no one. Then what you're going to do is you're going to increase your credibility. Like, ooh, I like this person's style, I like this person's content. And you're going to do that through visibility / recallability, which is being consistent on posting, right? And then your goal is you transition into, the money is in Messenger and having these conversations, is you have to ask. I was always taught by my mentor, no asky, no giddy. I know that that's not a real phrase or real word, but it's something that's catchy, that stands out. You've got to ask. And that's where we transition into the law of profitability. So make sure, I know I said your vibe attracts your tribe. Make sure you're just being consistent. Don't worry about it. Like, Rob, I don't know my brand. I don't know this or that. I didn't know any of that stuff. I was just consistent, and I made a commitment to post every single day. And as I did that consistently, I started learning new insights. I started learning new perspectives that made all the difference, that helped me to be able to get better. Some of my posts were absolutely awful years and years ago that I look up, those memories pop up. And when those memories pop up, I'm like, why did I even think that was a good post? But thank goodness I started. As Walt Disney says, the best way to get started is to start doing. And too many of us make the plan for the plan of the plan of the plan of the plan, right? And it's analyze, paralyze, and then we never take action. So I'm going to give you my social media daily method of operation. This is just to simplify things for you. Post daily. That's your goal, is to work up to that. 5 non-business related reach outs. Really, really simple, right? Just be a good human being. Doesn't take that long. I actually do 10 plus a day. I've done it for 13 years. I do it audio messages because it doesn't take that long. It takes me less than 5 minutes. I do it before I go to the gym. But you think about it, if you just do 10 a day, that's over 300. More conversations can equal more conversions done right. I just always want to be talking to people. Ask someone to look at your products or business. That's the most important one. You have to ask. It is the number one income producing activity. If you are not asking people to look at your products or business, then we've messed up on social media. We've messed up. And too many people try to do all the other little things instead of focusing on the main thing. Yes, all the other things are to help increase, right, some visibility and leads. You have new people to talk to and all of those different things. But at the same time, that whole funnel that we're talking about, just simple funnel with this DMO, is you got to ask. Follow up, we know the fortune is in the follow-ups, plural. So we have to make sure we follow up. And then add friends on social media as we're consistently doing that. That'll help make a difference. I'm going to show you here in the next presentation on where you can actually add those particular people. So we're not going to go over this right now. What I want to cover is the cold to close method to help you to take these cold contacts and how do you warm those contacts up fast? Because I know some people are like, well, I like to approach people right away. And other people are like, oh, I hate when people do that. So I'm going to go over when you should transition into asking someone to look at your products or your business. So we're going to do that in this 9-step cold to close process. As we do this, these 9-step cold to close process, it's better than sneaking candy into a movie. I know you don't do that, but I love this. I saw this like big, I won't say my wife does this, but I saw this huge person, this meme, and I thought it was kind of funny because everyone does it. It's just, well, you don't, but everyone else does. So let's get right into it, these steps. Step number 1, Facebook interest group. Go find a group of something you're passionate about. Too many times people are like, well, who would love supplements? Who would love essential oils? Well, who would love, right? And you start listing all of your favorite products because you guys have so many. And I think that it's much bigger and better than that. This is what I think. There are things that you are passionate about. There are things that you could have conversations with anyone, a random stranger, and you would feel much more comfortable and confident. You have so many incredible products that most people, if they knew the value of your products, are going to want them. So stop thinking so narrow-minded of, well, who would like my products? Let's go find a Facebook group, right? And everyone's pitching everyone in that group. Instead, think of what your passions are. I love hiking. I've hiked all over the world. And so for me, I could go find a hiking group and have real conversations with people, regardless if they join my business or not. And this whole process does not take that long. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to go search Facebook groups on something you're extremely passionate about. I have a friend she's extremely passionate about Disney. So she's joined all these Disney groups, and that's where she started. We're going to go into step number 2. So now step number 2 is you start out with one Facebook group, but eventually a couple of them. You're going to go like and comment. Remember, you got to give before you take. So go find some posts. So for me, I could find some hiking posts where so-and-so said, oh, they just hiked in Switzerland. Oh, I'd love to go hike in Switzerland. Right? Or they just hiked wherever else it is. Oh, I'd love to do that. So now I could actually go engage. This is something where I don't feel like I'm being fake. This is a topic I absolutely love. Step number 3. This is where it starts to get real. This starts to get very, very serious here. And will make a huge difference. Make an engaging post in the group. So what I'm going to do is, and you see the example that I have right here. And in the example is I'm going to state something of value that fits with the group. Well, I'm in a hiking group, so I say, I love hiking. My 2 favorite hikes are the Nepali Coast hike, the Path of the Gods hike. Now I would actually have to update it with Trolltunga in Norway, because I did that this last fall and absolutely loved it, even though I have a fear of heights. It was tons and tons of fun. But you see, I could have these conversations where I'm providing value. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask an engaging question. I'm going to say, what are your favorite hikes? Why am I doing this? Because when I make an engaging post after providing value, this is invoking more comments. Now as they make more comments, the way it works in a Facebook group, most of you all know this, is the most recent engagement is the post that's at the top. So if someone just commented on your specific post, guess what? It's going to pop to the very top of the Facebook group. And so I want more engagement because I also want more conversations with people. Here's another little hack. Don't reply to all comments right away, because knowing it pops to the top, if there's 10 comments and I do it right away, well, all 10, I don't have anyone else to reply to. Instead, if every day I just went and replied to one comment, every day it pops to the top of this Facebook group, which makes a huge difference. Now, step number 4. These steps go in order. Friend request several in the group. Now, typically, it's going to be those who engaged on your post or you engaged on their post. Doesn't have to be, but what happens now is at least there's some sort of familiarity. It's not like you're besties now, right? But at least there's some sort of familiarity because they saw you engaged on their post or they saw your post and they put what their 2 favorite hikes are, right? So now there's some sort of familiarity as you go. So now I'm going to friend request these individuals. Step number 5, Facebook Messenger. We talked about how the money is in Messenger. Instantly, right after I send them a friend request, I'm going to send them a message. Why? Because I want to remind them that we have some sort of connection, even if it's not that big, even if we haven't had that connection for that long. But what I want to do is I want to remind them. So it could be maybe they commented on my post and they said, right, we'll go back to the Switzerland, and they commented Switzerland and I replied to it, and I could say, oh, I've always wanted to go to Switzerland. You know, hey, thanks for commenting on my post. You know, excited to connect with you. It's just super simple. You're just being a good human being. It doesn't take that long. It's not fake. These are people you want to talk with anyways. These people that are part of something you're passionate, excited about. So I'm instantly sending that message, right? Maybe it's a post they made, and so that's the point of reference. You're going to find that point of reference. Now, what I want to clarify before I go into steps 6, 7, 8, and 9 is this doesn't take that long. Define the Facebook group. After that, spend 10 minutes, go engaging on other people's. Then after that, you're making a post. Shouldn't take that long. It's something you're excited and passionate about. I mean, you could do all of this within 20 minutes, and this is just getting a taste of how to do it before it becomes part of your daily method of operation. Now you go friend requests, and now you shoot messages. I mean, think how quick this absolutely happens. Now, step 6, this is where people are like, when do I start talking about my business or my products? Leading questions. An example. Hey, which supplements do you take to keep you fit for hiking? And usually when they tell you, they're also going to ask you, well, which supplements do you take? And that's when I say, well, I actually take, right? Fill in the blank, your favorite products. And then that's where you invite them to check it out. Now, let's say you ask a leading question and they don't respond with asking you. That's okay. Then what you're going to do is step number 7 is you're still going to ask. You're just going to invite them. Whether it's you're utilizing your Facebook group or whether it's a video, whether it's a Zoom or whatever your secret sauce system is for your specific team, you're just going to utilize that. Now, the question always is I was taught that I'm supposed to approach everybody right away, or I'm supposed to be very direct right away, or I'm supposed to wait. Look, every single human's different. Approach people how you would want to be approached. Now, some are like, well, aren't we supposed to approach people how they want to be approached? Of course, but we don't know how they want to be approached. So if you approach them on the first message, now you're Spamela Pamela. Now you're Spammy Pammy. That's spammy. If you approach them in the first conversation, that's okay. Second conversation, it's great. Third conversation, great. Longer than that, you're overdoing it. Now it's like that person that's like, hey, Rob, I've been nurturing this connection for the last year. Do you think I'm okay to approach them? You're never going to build a business like that. So I don't really care. Whatever the bold, authentic version of you is, do that. If you're someone that hates when someone approaches you in the first conversation, then don't do it. If you're someone that hates when someone doesn't approach you in the first conversation, well, great. Then you should approach them in the first conversation. So you decide. These steps, even though there's a lot of them, I'm just breaking it down to make things extremely simple. Now we follow up. We all know the power of follow-ups, right? It's third-party validations, whether that's three-way calls, whether that's Zooms, whether that's depending on what they're looking at, whether you've got a specific Facebook group that you want to plug them into, but the fortune is in the follow-ups. And step 9 is a really important one that most people miss. Sign up or they don't. And if they sign up, great, then you go through your launch process. If they don't sign up, don't be a taker. I'm going to put notes in my phone and to reach out to them 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 3 months from now. I'm going to literally put reminders in my phone. And I'm going to reach out to them non-business related, because nobody likes the person that Never has a conversation with them. And then every single year, hey, want to join my business? Hey, want to buy my products? No. Year later, oh, now you ready? Want to join my business? Want to buy my products? Like, jeez. It annoys most people. And then you become part of the NFL, the No Friends League. I'm telling you, it doesn't take that long if they say no of, hey, sounds like right now is not a good time for you. Are you okay if I keep you posted on new product releases and launches and how everything's going? They're going to say yes almost every single time. And so now after they said yes, great. Put it in my phone, right? I got it in my calendar. And now 2 weeks later, I'm not even going to give them any updates. I'm going to find something. Maybe I go comment on some of their posts. Maybe it's just a message in Messenger, right? But I'm just going to be a good human being. It doesn't take that long. It's not fake chit-chat. I hate fake chit-chat. These are just real conversations. Being a good human being. The number one car salesman in the world of all time. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records. He outsold 95% of car dealerships. Guess what his secret tip was? He's kept in touch with people. Now look, don't misinterpret what I'm saying. No ASCII, no getting. The number one income producing activity, as I said earlier, is you gotta ask. You've got to focus 80% of your time on inviting people to look at your business or products. What I want to do is I want to help you to increase your likability, your credibility, your visibility / recallability so that more people know what you're about. I want to help you so that you've got a set strategy as you go. And so we're going to go back to the DMO that we talked about, and the very simple DMO we're going to finish with, right? One new post daily. Make sure you have reach outs, non-business related reach outs. Ask people to look at your business or products, right? You decide, you can cater that number to 1, 5, 10, depending on how fast or slow you're going. Add new friends on social media so you continually have new leads, new people that are added, and then make sure follow up. We can't say one follow up because that's all dependent on how many people you're inviting, but make sure that you're being consistent on following up. So in closing, I want you to remember that Florence Chadwick story that I told you at the very beginning. I know sometimes things are really tough. I know. I went through those times. I went through those times where I started blaming everybody else, thinking, are you lucky, right? Did they just get lucky? Or is it for me? Or is it my style? Or is it my personality? Or is this ever going to happen for me? You have an incredible company. I've spoken in 18 plus countries the last 3 years. And I can tell you this. I can tell you that you have a phenomenal company. There are people with less of a skill set than you in a company much less than yours that have done 10 times more than you. I don't tell you that to discourage you or shame you. Please do not misinterpret that. I tell you that to empower you to become the bold version of you and to go make it happen. Just keep envisioning that land is almost right there and keep sticking to the income producing activities through this daily method of operation and go crush your business.
We're here together, every moment now. A song to sing.